Welcome back to the John Fourcade Show. One of our John Fourcade specials this week is the Ford year-end event. A 2016 F-150 XLT Super Crew Cab, $9,500 off total savings, or $10,250, or one more, $10,750 off total savings. You can't find a better deal on a 2016 F-150 XLT Super Crew Cab right here at Veterans Ford, from $9,500 all the way to $10,750 right here at Veterans Ford. We're back here on the John Fourcade Show. John, Saints in Atlanta, one game this year that the Saints really took a spanking, and it was against the Falcons. Devontae Freeman, he went wild in that football game. It wasn't the Julio Jones show. Right. They went after them, rushing the football. The Falcons can clinch the number 2 seed with a win. And so you know they got something they're playing for. Also be the last regular season game in the Georgia Dome. So if you thought that you might catch the Falcons kind of sitting starters out, that sort of thing, that's not happening. Bottom line is this: if the MVP race is legit, Matt Ryan wins it. I think he's been the best player in the NFL this year.
He's been the steadiest one in the NFL. I know they talk about, from a standpoint, Tom Brady, what he has done. Great. My hat goes off to him.
He can't miss 4 games and
4 less ball games in MVP. Derek Carr had an opportunity. He's hurt. He's out. Who else can you give to? Matt Ryan. He's been pretty steady all year long. The Atlanta Falcons has been there all year long. You're right. And the Dome, last game of the season for them at the Dome. Got a chance to number 2 seed throughout the playoffs and see what happens at home. Get a rest, and then you go ahead and play that home game. It's going to be tough for the Saints to go in there.
I believe it.
I'm looking at a 7-9 record again. That's 3 years in a row. But
we're tipping our hand already.
Right,
but I do think you and I agree with that.
But the way the Atlanta Falcons, and let's be honest, they're 10-5. Could be sitting here 13-3, Mike. Or 13-2 at this moment right now. Very easily, this team has lost some games they shouldn't have lost, and we all know the scenario against Seattle and against Kansas City and the San Diego game. But overall, I liked what I've seen of Atlanta all year long. I picked them before the year to win the conference and get in the playoffs.
One of the things, John Kincaid and I were talking about this, that as soon as they signed Alex Mack, I made the comment to him, you guys are now going to be legit on offense. I'm a big believer in the center position. Makes such a big difference on a football team. Look at Seattle. Ever since they've traded Max Unger away, that offensive line has been garbage for them. Now you see what Alex Mack has done. I'll make a pretty good argument. I think the best free agent acquisition in the NFC has been Alex Mack for them at the center position, solidifying an average at best offensive line.
Because last couple of seasons they've struggled on defense quite a bit, but they've also struggled on their offensive line. People say, well, they got to get a bookend guys to protect Matt Ryan. No. Get you a center first, then you go to the outside second. And with their receiving core and their running game, and they picked up in the running game. Now the defense has played very well for Atlanta over this season. It's a defense that's gotten better. Beasley on the outside has played some excellent football for them, and I think the Saints had an opportunity to draft him a year ago. And
he got picked a little bit ahead of him. They would have had to move up to get him. But still, he's the type of guy that's a difference maker where if you're going to trade up for a guy, he's that guy.
Well, the deal is, Mike, he's a kind of guy that's 240, 250, 260, who can move around, 14.5 sacks, but he can move around. These days of going out and get a 280 to 290-pound guy and have his hand down and then ask him sometimes to get up. This kid can stand up and rush, put his hand down, and move around. That's the kind of guy you want, the hybrid rush guy on the outside. These days of getting, a big guy, that's great for 4-3. If you're in the New York Giants days where they put 4 down linemen and you just rush for those 4 guys, it's a difference when they win Super Bowls. It doesn't happen that way. People want that outside rush. And I think Atlanta has improved so much on the defensive side of football and made their offense. People look at the offensive side of the ball and realize, man, they can run the football with them running backs. Matt Ryan is having a good enough season. And they're talking about maybe letting Julio Jones not play this game because getting him better prepared, ready with his injuries for the playoffs, giving 2 extra weeks.
Debo Jones been a big difference maker for him, over 100 tackles. What's so strange about Debo is he was a 1-year starter at LSU. We saw it again this year with Duke Riley. But, man, you talk about a difference maker. Debo can flat out run. He's not the biggest outside linebacker. But you talk about a guy who can drop back in coverage, run the field sideline to sidelines. I think along with Vic Beasley, Debo Jones has been a big part of why Atlanta's been so improved on defense.
Well, he's contributed on defense, 3 picks, 2 scores on defense for them. He's a guy, he's
One
not a
of them
big
against
guy.
the Saints, too.
Right, you're correct. He's not a big guy. It doesn't matter how big you are. If you can get the job, I played with one of the smallest linebackers to ever play football, Sam Mills. All right, it's a different scenario. He's in the middle, kind of a 5'9", 212 pounds of solid guy. This guy right here is a little slimmer, trimmer, and he moves around. Times have changed in the defensive ball. You don't need to have these big, Jack Lambert linebackers, but he's played very well for them. He had a chance to beat the New Orleans Saints, too. They blew that.
Didn't have an opportunity there that they could have selected him. What's your take on Terry Bradshaw's criticism of Mike Tomlin, saying he's kind of a cheerleader coach and that sort of thing? Terry's taken shots before at the Steeler organization. This seemed to be pretty personal between him and Mike Tomlin.
There's something there, Mike, that we don't know
Yeah,
about.
I
There is
agree.
something that's good, because he's never really done it to this extreme. He's made some comments off the deep end. I don't know, maybe dementia setting in, or Alzheimer, whatever it is with him, but he's made some comments over the years about all kind of situations in football. But when he went after the Steelers here, Tomlin's never had a losing record. He's a Super Bowl winning coach, and he's done some great things there. I don't know what's going on with that scenario, but just to say he's a cheerleader type coach, it's hard to say it. Don't know.
There is something personal between the two.
Between them, and that's really personal. And it shouldn't be that way because Terry's on national television. He needs to calm it down and tone it down a little bit.
But it's Terry being
yep.
Terry, too.
Hey, that's what gets the ratings up. People want to hear it.
Yeah, exactly.
That's like our show. You say something wild, we get our ratings up.
We're going to go to the power ratings here of the National Football League, and certainly the power rankings are going to take a shot here. The Patriots #1, Cowboys 2. The Steelers making the jump. No surprise to me. They would be in that bargain at the 3 spot. The Chiefs playing really good football at the 4 spot. Atlanta 5. The Packers 6 at 9-6. The Raiders have taken a tumble for one reason. No Derek Carr at quarterback. And with Mike McGlynn at quarterback, you one and done come playoff time. Seattle, another mercurial football team along with the Giants, 8-9. And Matt Moore leading the Dolphins to a 10-5 record and into the playoffs. Amazing. Matt's been a career backup, a guy who has played pretty well as a backup quarterback, comes in for Ryan Tannehill. Well, he knows what to do. I hand the football off to Jay Ajayi, and he scores, and I got Jarvis Landry catching balls from me.
Well, the thing about it is he's a solid quarterback. He's not, when you say backup, he started many games in the NFL, so he knows what his role is. It's not like some of these backup quarterbacks like a.k.a. the Raiders with their quarterback scenario, who hasn't produced when he has been a starter. I like Miami's chances of winning a better game than I like the Raiders' chances.
I agree.
And the Raiders struggling defense with their secondary. But you look at the rankings right there. I'm shocked that the Pittsburgh Steelers jumped up that because they should have lost the game the other day against the Baltimore Ravens. I watched that football game. Roethlisberger did not play a very good football game. And granted,
up
that's
until the fourth quarter.
To the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
But how do you not put the Atlanta Falcons a little higher up than what they were? Don't underestimate the Falcons in with the way they're producing. But Seattle's a team that scares you. But they're up and down. They don't know what they're going to get with those guys.
You don't want to play in Seattle.
You don't want to play there, but
But still, their offensive line is so bad, and that's really a tough part of it. Already, the guillotine came down on both Ryans.
Yep.
Rex and Rob both out. Looks as though Anthony Lynn, who is an interim coach, will now be a pretty good shot to be the permanent coach with Doug Whaley as general manager.
Well, my whole take is Doug Whaley needs to be fired. He's the guy, in my books, is the reason why that team has been bad over the years. Doug Marrone left because of him. Rex Ryan got fired because this guy can't draft. This guy has no idea what talent is. Now he's going to bump up Lynn from a running backs coach to offense coordinator to now interim coach and talk about him being the head coach after he flubbed and screwed up his post scene yesterday when he's on in front of a camera. This guy is just a puppet on the string. I think everybody, clean house in Buffalo. That's what I say.
I don't think it'll happen, but I agree with you totally on that. And wondering what will happen to Tyrod Taylor, who has also had his good moments and also some low moments, but I think he's a legit starting quarterback and a pretty good one in the NFL. More with the John Fourcade Show, sponsored each week by Veterans Force.